Hello everybody. As you can see, I'm much more affected by my Parkinson's today, so I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to continue to do this. I'll keep going until I can, until anyone says stop, until I say stop. This is really exhausting. Right, so sorry about the Parkinson's, sorry about the shaking. We'll just have to get on with it. I'll try and keep my voice very high, because I'm using my webcam. It's not going to create a great deal of sound for you. I'll try and do my best. Hopefully we can come up with something useful. This is partially to publicise the capacities of the new live streaming facility in Google, in YouTube, because you can now pretty much do it on a single button. So it's very easy to set up. And I could do it in my current state in about 5 minutes. Three of those were typing in the bloody title. So, without further ado, what I'm going to try and do next is to first of all show you why I'm doing this, and get straight into the takedown. I'm going to try and do my screen capture, so I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. Just opening my screen capture software now. Trying to do double clicking these conditions is a little difficult. It's running now. Oh boy. It's in the region. Region to full screen. Do that. Full screen, yes. Record. Swap back and see if that actually works in your window. Just around the chair to just get the leverage on this thing to go back to where I was. So my mouse, very, very shaky. There we are. Back to you. Let's see if that's actually going to work now. So now I'm going to go to one of the articles which prompted me to do this. Which is one from MIT. Sorry if I can't check the separate page what's going on, but so I just log into this page. This thing on a different page that will work. Someone in the chat tell me whether they can actually see what I'm saying, which is huge MIT study of fake news shows that fake news is actually more attractive than truth. So the truth goes around the world very quickly, and the falsehoods go around the world very quickly, very easily. The truth has a long time catching up. Just scroll up here in the faint hope that you can see it. It was hyperbole 3 centuries ago, but it's a factual description of society and social media according to an ambitious and first of its kind study published Thursday in Science. This massive news study analyses every major contested news story in English across the span of Twitter's existence, some 126,000 stories, to by 3 million users over more than 10 years, and finds that the truth simply cannot keep it with hoax and rumour. By every common metric, falsehood consistently dominates the truth over Twitter. The study finds fake news and false rumours reach more people, penetrate deeper into the social network, spread much faster than accurate stories. It's not just because of bots, it might have something to do with human nature. So this is a very crucial finding, major finding. MIT, very much respected institution, so I think we can take it that we've actually got our hands full trying to deal with the truth. And I think that this new Google tool may prove one powerful weapon in that you can very quickly do a takedown, if you're honest, if you're knowledgeable, do a very quick takedown video to whatever emerges instantaneously, which means that effectively the truth will be hard on the heels of the falsehoods. So with that in mind, let's turn straight to Saga back out. It's Week in Smart, Week in Stupid of last night, from which I've taken this following transcript, and I hope I'm still capturing. I took a copy of the transcript from this video, which you can easily do. Anyone can easily do. I put it in Google Doc. You can put it in any document you like. I did that so I can share it with you. I'll put the link in the end of our when we finished. Oh boy, it's been difficult. So, hello everyone, welcome to This Week in Stupid for the 1st of April 2018. This is Sargon talking. We'll not be doing any April Fool's nonsense. I'm afraid I'm going to say I'm not going to be doing any April Fool's stuff because I want you to understand that the things I'm talking about to show you are real articles, real stories, real events in the world are made to use. Don't want you thinking that, well, that's clearly made up, because as far as I can tell, none of the following has been made up, all of them should have been. Well, I confidently protect those. God's going to break his word on this. He's going to start laughing. He's going to start calling ridicule. He's going to make mockery of things. It says not doing April Fool's stuff. Well, pretty much every day is April Fool's Day for Carl, because it's all bollocks, as we shall say. I'm confident. I've looked at it before. I've looked at the first story a little bit. I haven't looked at the rest of it. Right, let's start in Scotland. You know that place of proudest militaristic tolerance. I don't think it means militaristic. I think that's mistranscription. Tolerance where someone this week was arrested for an offensive comment that was left on a fucking napkin. Napkin, but a fucking napkin, you will notice. This is the entire article that the BBC has given us, police. I said that a 22-year-old man has been arrested as part of a hate crime investigation in Dumfries. It began after racially offensive comments were found scored on a napkin in a local Chinese restaurant. Thank God they've caught, at least caught someone. I'd like to think that someone who scored a racially offensive comment on a napkin was left at large. Yes, I would. This is significant because police taking is significant. So that at least makes it significant. It's significant enough for you to comment on poor Carl. So that means you should take it seriously, not say things like, now I would take to think that someone who had scored a racially offensive comment on a napkin would be left at large, which is clear sarcasm. Are you sure what kind of thing was said on it? Perhaps it was a threat. Perhaps it was an overt threat to burn the Chinese restaurant to the ground. You don't know what was written on it. You don't know who wrote it, for what reason. And yet you seem to feel yourself capable of commenting on its accuracy. Now I'm going to go to Carl's video, look up the actual reference, see whether we can read it. Another Sargon, come on, where are you? Should have done this beforehand. What I had done, but I hadn't got the right page. I'm not going to show much of his social video. Here's the transcription on this dot place at the bottom. You can still see me. Open transcript, and there it all is. Just there. Okay, that's how we get the transcript. And then let's see if we can find his sources. Always does post them. Usually quite good about that, which makes it very easy to debunk. Sources, these are mines. So it's got from his own blog there. Making stupid. Right, let's see. It comes in Scotland. So this one's from BBC. So he doesn't usually put the link, he just puts the text in. Let's just highlight it. and go. Rest of your offensive napkin comments. Again, that's what it says. Police have said 22-year-old man has been arrested in part of a hate crime investigation in Dumfries. The inquiry began after racially offensive comments were found scored on a napkin in a local Chinese restaurant. Discovery was made by locals. Member of staff in the local Hong Kong style in Friars Venel reported being prepared for a procurator fiscal. Procurator fiscal is the prosecutor in Scottish law. So that means it's the same as a DA. DA, procurator fiscal, more or less the same. Well, nothing like the same, but same function. He's the prosecutor. He represents the state. Scottish law, so slightly different from English and from US law. That's the whole story. That's what it is. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4-line story, 4-line description, and from that, Carl gets what? So it's 4 sentences in the original article. Carl gets, let's just count them. It's just basically Yes, well, I thank God I at least caught someone. Full stops, that's 1. Would hate to think that someone who was scored a racially offensive comment on a napkin was left at large. Full stops, that's 2. I mean, that's a real danger to the public, don't you think? Full stop, that's 3. Discovery was made by just reading from the. There's another one. But they don't tell us whether that member of staff survived or not. And I'm really disappointed at the BBC's reporting or lack thereof, because I just don't know how many people were injured by these racially offensive napkin comments. So that's 4. So it's 4 sentences of news coverage, 4 sentences of commentary, which is rather long. The reason why you can't see it is because under Scottish law, as soon as someone's arrested, the whole thing goes blank. It's all sub judice. Scottish judges are very notably, very famously, very scrupulous about that. They will not let anybody who's been arrested have their name published in the papers. They'd be known to take news editors to court and slam them in prison. They did the chief editor of the Telegraph once, I believe. So they're famous for doing that. Why Carl doesn't know that, I don't know, but that's why. The whole arrangement you have in the United States, where people are dragged in front of the cameras with orange suits and so forth, Scottish judges would just throw any kind of treatment of a prisoner like that straight out. It's absolutely abominable what you do in the USA. And this is a British person speaking, so you just have to take it like that. It's prejudicial to a jury to show someone in chains, someone in an orange suit, and to have their name published. You say you rely on the integrity of the jurist and the DA. Well, the DA is usually politically motivated, and so how you can maintain that, I don't know. I suppose, but really, this really does show, to me, that really does show the stark difference between the two. Sorry, I'm not becoming a bit more distinct as I go through this, because I'm going to suffer from my Parkinson's. You'll just have to put up with it, I'm afraid. Next time I'll try and get this done on a better audio version. Okay, the next one is 2 hate crime laws. It's just so good I couldn't pass it up. So you say so good, he means amusing or diverting. Don't know what he means. It means representative. What it means by good. Good is a rather strange word for Scott to use at that point. I think it just means newsworthy or attention-worthy or good red meat. I couldn't pass it up. In other words, he's giving way to temptation. Saying he's giving way to temptation. So why would a straight news presenter give way to temptation? It means you're not, was consciously not telling the truth, I think. But anyway. This is to do with this is with the I think so. We'll go to the link for that. Shortly news, rude one policeman. Examine this first and then examine what Carl says afterwards. Okay, message that was too rude for one policeman. This Hatfield is the name of the person who's obviously not been arrested. Oh dear. God, another one bloody surveys. Skip survey. Oh no. Don't put in the recipe page. It's my shaky fans for you. Close that. Sorry about that. Skip survey. Down the bottom. There you go. Right. Go on, small dick past me. Okay. Well. I'd say that was a very, very dangerous message to have, to be honest, because if you say pass me, that means get into a race. You can't have people racing. This is telling the story that he was really intimidating. Say he was personally, Tommy was personally offended by it. Well, I was probably personally offended by it because this guy's person is who he doesn't know is a girl or a boy. It's a kind of typical thing that a tweet of an 18-year-old, oh, for goodness sake. You can't have to do things like that going around the streets. You've just seen the picture of the back of their car. It's full of logos, horses and rats and goodness what else. Other stickers, see if I can read them. Put the screen up now. Trying to. Oh, I can't make out the text. To be an injured between her and a partner, I'll believe it if you like. I don't think the judge will. Very much doubt if the jury will. Exhibition like that. Why would she say to her brother to pass her? Come on, small dick, pass me. What does that mean between two partners? No, it's an obvious challenge to someone to try and overtake and get into a race with her. Those couples should have been nabbed straight away. As it was, they gave her several second chances to take it down. She refused. She's in the bin. I've got no time for people like that. Matter of road safety and keeping order. No, absolutely not. Okay, let's look at the next. I think we know see what Sargon says about that. I've actually read this before. Ah, yes. So a woman whose rear car window contains a rude message has claimed a police officer told her to take it down and stick her on the private road with a Vauxhall Corsa. He's on go on, small dick, past me. Cheeky message which has been causing amusement to poor faces on social media. Well, because poor faces on social media, poor owners of those poor faces should be ashamed of themselves. Provoking someone into a race on a high street is not good. It's not just amusement, bloody dangerous. I'm not surprised at all that she's been ordered to take it down. Can't do things like that. It's absolutely stupid, reckless endangerment. Not gone down well with one woman. This is Carl again. Social media has not gone down well with one male police officer. No, it's gone down with two at least, according to the story. So it was the person who called her from the police station, and then when she didn't take it down, they sent someone around to her, probably the beat constable. Actually, it turned up sometime between 8 and 10 p.m. Well, consider it. told me he was personally offended for it. As again, I would be professionally offended for it by it. I'd be personally professionally offended for it if I was a policeman. I'd torn her off a strip, I'm sure he was. I was absolutely fuming. He said he would be passing my house 3 or 4 times next week, be issuing me with a public order ticket if I hadn't taken it down. I said it was personal. Well, I guess we found out there's a small dick around here. Haven't we, buddy? The irony in the sticker is an in-joke between her and her partner, Richard Buckley, known as Dick. She made it to give him a chuckle. No, you don't call your husband, whose name is Richard, Dick, and then call him Small Dick. In that way, if he was ever driving behind her. Well, if he's driving behind her, he's following her, presumably to somewhere where he doesn't know destination. So you don't want someone to do in those circumstances pass you. So I can't think of any other circumstances in which it could be realistically it'd be said to be. No, I just don't think it's. Okay, we come on to the main message, and those got you chuckling along, thinking anybody who speaks against him is ridiculous. So they're very clearly are not. Racial comments of an unknown nature, unknown level of threat on one hand, and a clear invitation to get into a racing game which she's trying to cover as a. Don't believe this person is. I just don't believe her. On the basis of what's being reported, I don't know. So one can. Okay, so we come to the next thing, which is obviously going to try and rise up the racial stuff, religious stuff, anti-Muslims, whatever. Could not cover it outright over. Could not cover outrage. Okay, so he's been talking about his outrage. Could not cover it outrage over official brochure with child marriage tips for migrants. Sweden has withdrawn a leaf at giving migrants who are married to children tips and advice on how to settle in the country. And it's been withdrawn following a public outcry. Well, at least there was a public outcry, even if nobody in these organisations had any idea how to deal with child marriage in Sweden. At least the public at large still have some sense in their heads. So the brochure is called Information for those married to a child. It cast a storm over its unacceptably soft tone. It included an explanation that marrying an under 18-year-old is forbidden in the country. Continuing to live with them was inappropriate, and explained that a child bride should be treated as a lone youngster who did not have their parent or guardian. Well, come on, that's unfair. Is Dick Sweden then married to her online? Married to her online. Read, since children under the age of 15 have an absolute right to protection from sexual acts. Okay, so in Sweden, you can't get married until you're 18, apparently, but you can have sex after you're 15. So under the age of 15, you have an absolute right to protection from sexual acts. You can't get married until you're 18. You can't live together if the child is under 15, so you can't do what was called a common law marriage. I don't speak Swedish, but this is Carl speaking again. I don't speak Swedish, but I spoke to a man who does. He pointed out that this brochure, there was nothing to suggest that actually being married to a child was wrong. Don't know about this at all. It may just be that it's explaining that living together with a child to whom you are married is wrong. Having sex with a child to whom you're married is wrong. If they're under age 15, it's absolutely wrong. If you're in any kind of pretend relationship of marriage, it's still against the law. You will be, even though it's legal to have sex with someone. To have sex with someone who's 15, you're not allowed to get married or be in any kind of lasting relationship, which living relationship, which is what we call common law marriage. Just to use a bit of social power, because ultimately you couldn't. Ultimately, you really wouldn't want to offend those men who were married to children, would you? I mean, that would be awful to offend the feelings of a minority group just because you think that 30-something-year-old men shouldn't be having sex. No, that's not. To offend the feelings of a minority group just because you think that 30-something-year-old men should be having sex with 14-year-olds. Well, the policy is actually agreeing with you, Carl. Anybody having sex with a 14-year-old is breaking the law. anybody who has a lasting living relationship with someone 15 years old or more, 15 years old, 15, 16 or 17 years old, in other words, below the age of 18, but above the age of 14, is also breaking the law. This is a rather strange, anomalous thing, which obviously does require some explaining. I don't really think you have to look at this source, but I will do anyway. Just to see how far it is, how difficult it would be for Carl to misread it that way. Oh. But it's really the progressive thing to do to treat it as if it's just a lifestyle choice, which is precisely what this leaflet was about. Well, let's see. Go back to the Weak and Stupid. Here's the blog post again. It's from the Express. It's hardly certainly not a left-wing paper. So most people in this country certainly would say it's called a right-wing paper. I don't know about the US. Express is notably. Just try to highlight it again here, so I can get with this shake. I've got it still. So the official title does say outrage over official brochure with child marriage tips for migrants. Sweden has withdrawn a leaflet giving immigrants who are married to children tips and advice on how to settle in the country has been withdrawn following a public outcry. Okay, well, I would say that outcry was based upon a misunderstanding. It's just that if you're in Sweden, you can have sex with people who are over the age of 15, can't get married to them until they're 18. Yep, so if you have a marriage recognised, for example, in a British court, saying that you are married to your 16-year-old partner, that's legal in this country, but it's not legal in Sweden. You're not allowed to live with them. You can still have sex with them after the age of 15. So no doubt in the US this would be quoted with a very rather strange looks. But so in Sweden, the age of consent, it looks like it's 15. In the UK, it's 16. Thus, there is a significant anomaly. There's various people who you can't live with or say is your wife. So, for example, I won't go into that. Famous example of someone who's dating a 17-year-old who's quite a bit older, 26, I think. I won't go into that. Don't want to name people. Said, God dear. He said, okay, so Dodd Bias, Billstrom, these are the moderates, which are extreme right-wing party, not a moderate at all. The biggest thing is the word prison isn't present. It don't know that it actually be in Sweden, though it is, because it carries a prison conviction. Doesn't actually mean that. Well, I think that's again is a representation by Sargon's picked up an extreme right wing. If you look at the moderates, you'll find they are extreme right wing, pretending to be moderate right wing party in Sweden, widely known to be so. I'm sure Sargon's tackled them before, so you should know it. That I think is a very clear misinterpretation, which I think he should have picked up. I'm not surprised he didn't, because it was rather hidden. So I think we can let Sargon off that one, just to be charitable. Okay, so the next one. Oh, God. I'm going to have to make this the last one because I don't think you can stand this much more. Yes, and Sargon goes on to pour the scorn and ridicule on Sweden, which he said he wouldn't do any April Fool stuff. Well, it's pretty classically an April Fool story, really. It isn't that Sweden is permissive towards child marriage, being actually, well, according to by marriage, actually being very old-fashioned, almost American in their level of. Okay, and he goes on with his normal rant. How can you perform a moral platform against the fucking backwards nature of the back movements you're letting into your country? Well done. You actually realise that there's something about your country that's superior to theirs. Good fucking job. Maybe you should start this as a platform. Maybe next thing you go for our women's rights. Next thing you can speak out about is a woman's right not to be raped. Because that harlot is showing her hair, even Sweden's minister. Well, being anti-rape and then calling someone a harlot is not really consistent, Carl. Harlot is showing her hair. Yes, I think he's making mock of the fact that Muslims wear hijab to denote their faithfulness as a sort of mercy to men, because they might otherwise become overexcited by the sight of their hair. Don't know why that is, but it is. Even Sweden's Minister of Children, the Elderly and Gender Equality, in hell, garlic, whatever. So she had misgivings about the lift that she said there could never be any doubt about which party Sweden's Minister for the Children, Elderly and Gender Equality are. She may be a moderate, for all I know. They in hell? Don't know. There should never be, this is what she says, Sargon's quote from her, there should never be any doubt over which laws and values apply in Sweden. Really, there seems to be deliberate doubt and confusion about which laws and values apply in Sweden, but she said it was not permitted to enter into child marriage. That cannot be compromised. And the information must be crystal clear. Oh, this is fucking great. I love hearing Westerners standing up for their own values, even if after every time they violate the moral values, they've just gone, okay, well, you know, who are we to say no? Who are we to say no finally gets to the point of fucking children? They can actually say, hey, you know, I think you might need to take a moral stand here and say, just thank fuck. So he's ranting at this point, I predict. He's saying this in an angry voice. Because honestly, I didn't know if these guys were ever going to stop at any point. I honestly thought it's going to carry on and carry on and carry on. Thought there'd be, he would hear things like, you know, it's all fine, all cultures. Crikey. We're equal fucking children, exactly the moral equivalent to not fucking children. Mostly I'm amazed that they haven't come out with this. But I guess even they have standards just really fucking low. One's coming back to Britain. Okay, so goes on a rant there. Basis absolutely nothing other than his misunderstanding that of the Swedish laws, the way it was presented. It's made the same misinterpretation as the Express seems to have done. So I suppose we can, to a certain extent, give him some latitude for that. But by God, doesn't he go off on one small little piece of data which is misinterpreted to be very generous to him. You're in Sweden. Can't get married until you're 18 or live together with someone until you're 18, but you can have sex with people after the age of 15. That's their law, that's the way they run it, but it does take some explaining to someone else, to an outsider. Okay, now let's go to the next one. I'll carry on because I'm just about got strength to do this. Sorry about the tapping sound, that's my foot going on the groove floor. I'm just shaking so much now. Oh boy. Guardian Teaching Union criticises Ofsted Amanda Spielman over hijab ban for young girls. I think it's really going to have to be the last one. Oh boy. Try and do better the next time. I'm just stuffing so much more than I usually would be. This time of day, go to Guardian. Oh, crikey, I'd have to keep on. Got to switch all over the way there. Disable bloody thing. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh no, not again. I've got to go backwards. It's so bloody irritating. Someone who's got Parkinson's. Got to go exactly on that. Close button. Exactly there. Right. Oh no, not again. It's really, really irritating. Support the Guardian, but by gum, this is not very helpful for someone who's shaking. Just put up the whole support the Guardian thing again over and over again. I know they need support on it. I should subscribe really, but blimey, do go on about it. It's not helpful. To read out 2 lessons at a time then, because I can't close the flipping window. Ah. Yes. Okay, banning the hijab. The country's largest teaching union has criticised Head Ofsted, accusing her of pressuring schools into banning the hijab worn by young girls, amid a claim that the watchdog's position, that is Ofsted's position, could lead to an increased physical and verbal attacks on Muslim girls. Okay, because the government is banning this matter of self-expression. Kids in school, racist kids in school, with racist parents, or whatever, or influenced by Sargon or whatever, 15-year-olds or whatever, might start baiting kids who are Muslim who take off their hijab saying, ha ha ha, you don't really believe in your religion, why don't you just be naughty and be like the rest of us, why do you have to be so standoffish, it's your religion, my eye, blah, 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 blah. You can see how that kind of thing could really play out in a playground. I think that's a perfectly sensible position, if that's what Kevin Courtney, General Secretary of the EU, criticised Spielman's collections. This is criticism of Amanda Spielman, who's a woman. Just get that in. Don't really want to prove anything from that, just women can say stupid things as well as men. It's a problem that Amanda Spielman, Her Majesty's Chief Inspector of Schools, speaks out on this way, which I think is very, frankly, very political. So do I. Forcing kids of a Muslim background to do things you don't. Dream of forcing a Christian kid to take off their cross, for example, or forbidding a Welsh nationalist from displaying the Welsh flag or whatever else. As long as it's within reasonable school uniform. I don't think people are too much bothered in this country, things like that. And it all goes on to banning the burqa in wider places and so forth and so on. So it's very illiberal. It's restrictive to freedom of expression. And also, in current circumstances, when attacks on Muslims are far more commonplace than they were. There's about 400 attacks on Muslims a year now. It's violent attacks, not verbal attacks. I'll have to scratch that. Refer to that because I'll just have to do the look of proving it. So scratch that. Don't make reference to the number of Muslims being attacked per year. It's said to be higher than it was. That's as far as I can go. I could justify it some other time, but now I just don't have the energy. Controversy stems from Spielman's response to lobbying over the House to get this short now. The issue centred on primary school in East London, St Stephen's, which is backed down over plans to ban pupils from wearing hijab in class. Why would they want to ban wearing hijab in class? They ask primary schools as kids, I suppose. So it's not really usual to have children of a under sexual age being asked to wear hijab, but then that's the parents. So I suppose it's come to be a general sign that you are dedicated to your religion. If the parents and the child want to do it that way, well, primary school age only finishes at 9, so or 11. So sometimes girls of 11 do get hassled in the street. So understand that perhaps in this country, parents may want to have their children, their younger children, wearing hijabs, just as praying to the boys that they're not there to be teased or made mock of or approached in a sexual way, because unfortunately older men, it usually is, do hassle men of the age of 11 and upwards. That's from general talking to women over the years, including my mum. I remember being welfare assaulted at the age of 11 by Canadian troops in the streets prior to D-Day. So they remembered. It's gone now, but there we go. So last year, okay, I think that's basically it. Okay, that official individual Ofsted practice would ask individual Muslim girls why they were wearing the hijab, and to imply that they're wearing the hijab because they are being sexualised indicates that somebody who isn't in touch with Muslim communities at all. Courtney said, and I completely agree with her. They don't do it to sexualise them, they do it to asexualise them against the attentions of boys and men, more men, I would say, who can be very threatening, very intimidatory to girls as young as 11. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to protect their girls. And commanding them to take them off, I think, would be even more upsetting to the girls. As the girls are very, obviously 9 and 7, you don't saw it, but when they come to the age of 11, I'm afraid that some girls do get very badly ranked and harassed, pretty ones. Once you come into womanhood early, do get very much abused and harassed, if they're not really capable of dealing with that kind of thing. 11 and under, yes, it happens. Not to everyone, but to some. Head teachers need to be able to take uniform decisions on the basis of safeguarding or community cohesion concerns. Ofsted will support them and do that. Well, you didn't support them, did you? That's what the spokesperson for Ofsted said. Head teachers need to be able to take uniform decisions on the basis of safeguarding or community cohesion concerns, and Ofsted will always support them in doing that. Well, Ofsted may, but the blooming minister didn't. She's so far out of touch with the community, she doesn't understand what she's talking about. Okay, so I think that's as much as we need to go there. Okay, the motion states that statements have ramifications beyond the school gates, must be seen in the context of increased attacks on the Muslim community and particular stereotypes we have about Muslim girls and Muslim women. Increased attacks, so obviously that's what the NEU was saying is increased attacks on the Muslim community. The Ofsted don't say it, unfortunately. So that's the NEU, that's the Union of Teachers. Yeah. Spearman said, rather than adopting a passive liberalism that says anything goes for fear of causing offence, school leaders should be promoting a muscular liberalism. By muscular liberalism, must actually mean Sargonism. Good grief. Okay, so that's pretty muscular. People saying F and the F word every now and again. That's what she wants. Well, go and join the Sargon party. And absolutely no use for her at all. Just on that basis, I would not want to have that person anywhere near government. If she thinks that what Sargon's doing is okay, I suppose she would in certain circumstances. That's effectively what she says. Let's see what Sargon says. Still, the hijab ban for young girls and Spillman's comments on young Muslim girls wearing the headscarf could increase race attacks, says the NEU. Now, before you're on, isn't that just the most hysterical connection you can imagine? No, it's not. No, it's not. Because they could be making race attacks against these girls as young as 11 who do get hit on by older men. Yes. It could increase risk attacks because all kinds of trouble could. A white man approaches a non-Muslim man or Muslim man approaches a young girl at the age of 11, starts propositioning her. What are her brothers going to do about it? They're going to go on an attack against that guy who's propositioning their sister. Or if they aren't well disciplined, they may do. At age 12, 13, they will not be disciplined. They may not wait for their father to turn up and sort the problem out. Father to father with the other guy. Frankly, if this was going to be save them for every girl, Muslim will not do chance of a hijab if that's what it takes. If it works, it works. You mean the girls come first, don't they? Politics comes along like last. Should do. Yes, but I think that's basically the position of the NEU. Do what you like with politics as long as it keeps the kids alive. Just do what we have to do to get through this. We're not talking necessarily single-digit age. This Sargon saying Muslim girls. I mean, we're really talking really young children. You like single-digit age children. No, we're not talking about single-digit. It's just that the secondary schooling doesn't start until 11. In some cases with middle school, traditionally may not start until 13 now. Single-digit children, should they be wearing the headscarf? I don't know if you even talk about this, but could increase race attacks. So the country's largest teaching unions criticised the head of Ofsted using her pressurising schools into banning hijab by young girls with the claim the watchdog's position should lead to increased physical verbal attacks on Muslim girls. Yes, it could do. Could well lead to increased sexual, visible, and verbal attacks on Muslim girls. You mean we don't have any fucking arguments, so we're going to reach up into our arseholes, ready to get in deep, over to the elbow, grab anything we can, yank out, and fling it at you? No, that's not what they mean. They mean they've got a carefully considered argument to the contrary. Kevin Courtney, the Joint Secretary, Sargon speaking again, Kevin Courtney, the Joint Secretary General of the NEU, criticised Perlman's recommendation. Not making great deal of sense. I think this is a transcription, not making too much sense. I think Kevin Courtney, the Joint Secretary General of the ANU, criticised Rex Perlman's recommendations that teachers adopt a muscular liberalism to override the wishes of their local communities. Well, I'll tell you, I'm absolutely with Spillman at this point. We absolutely do need a form of muscular liberalism that will sit there and say no to the barbaric and inevitable practices of people from, say, the Middle East or from Sub-Saharan Africa or from East Asia or from wherever the fucking world, even if it just genuinely doesn't matter to me where these people come from. I think it is a problem at Amanda Spillman, Her Majesty's Chief Inspector of Schools, speaks out in this way, which I think is very political. Well, fucking duh. I think he's sort of quoting in that from the article from the various people. I can't follow exactly from the transcript where he's speaking for himself. Well, fucking duh. People's feeling so much pressure from Ofsted. He's quoting again. So much pressure from Ofsted. Our priority is that instead of consultation with five schools saying we're going to ban the hijab, okay, and I'll tell you why that's okay. Right. It's weird that young people single. He's speaking for himself, really. People feel so much pressure from Ofsted. Our worry is that instead of consultation with local schools saying we are going to ban the hijab, I think he goes straight into speaking for himself. Okay, and I'll tell you why that's okay, right? It's where the young children, single-digit pre-pubescent age children, are wearing the hijab because to the Muslim community, the hijab is very much like wearing large amounts of makeup. What? No, it's not wearing the hijab, which isn't very much like wearing very large amounts of makeup. It is inappropriate in Islam for girls who are not hit puberty to wear the hijab, because the hijab is a sign of modesty for women. Yes, but Carl, some girls do reach puberty at the age of 11. Some girls do. That's why tiny children in the Muslim community, little girls, don't have to wear them because they're not available for men to breed with. Well, hijab is a sign that you're not available to men to breed with. Hijab is a sign that you're going to be faithful, you're going to be merciful, you're going to be merciful to the men around you. You're not going to overexcite them. So it's a sign of the exact opposite. It means you may mean to some people that you may be of marriageable age, but it certainly is not. It's the absolute reverse of an invitation to breed with them, as Sargon so eloquently and civilizedly put it. Such an eloquent and civilized tone puts it. Breed with. No, you don't breed with people. Make love to them, you don't get married to them, you have them as your girlfriend, but you don't breed with women. Such brutalities really do speak for themselves, I think. That's the point of it. It's literally like a young girl piece. No, hijab is the exact opposite of being slapped up with all this makeup, putting on high heels and miniskirts and going to school. Because that's what our culture does, including to 11-year-old children. Take a look at the racks in any sort of high street store you come to. You'll find lots and lots of sexualised gear for young kids. So our non-Muslim kids are going to school sometimes over-sexualised, looking like the latest, whatever pin-up now is, school age kids, girls look up to, whatever twerking bubble of sexuality they into, they'll try and dress like that. It's hyper over-sexualised. So it's the exact opposite of Carl. That's going to increase hate crimes against our young sluts. So our guns will be about how you have a dialogue, a respectful dialogue. I don't think he means guns. Will be about how you have a dialogue, a respectful dialogue, a dialogue based on love for one another, dialogue based on sexualising underage. I think it means not a dialogue based on sexualising underage girls to Muslim men. This is exactly the dialogue these fucking idiots are having. No, Carl, it's not the Muslim men you need to worry about. Muslim men to a Muslim man, hijab is a keep-off sign. It's a sign to avert his eyes. It's a high sign to most religious men to not have any, even acknowledge the other person's existence, unless they've got a properly arranged chaperone and all the rest of it. To a traditional Muslim man, hijab is an absolute. No touching, no thinking about, no acknowledging the existence of. It's the exact opposite of cosmetic enhancement and sexualization, which is what we do in our culture. But they don't know anything about these fucking communities, apparently. Well, apparently neither do you, Carl. Just in case you think I'm making this up, I'm not. Last year, Spillman announced that Ofsted inspectors had to be told to question Muslim primary schools wearing hijab, with Spillman later saying that expecting these girls to wear headscarves could be interpreted a sexualisation of young girls. But Ofsted inspectors would ask individual Muslim girls why they were wearing the hijab and imply they were wearing hijab because they were being sexualised to get someone who wasn't in touch. Muslim communities, that's the quote I've heard of before. Carl says he's got evidence. Says here's what Muslim women talking about this from February this year. I didn't want to wear my hijab, and I don't believe every young girl who wear them today, she doesn't think that it's right for girls under 8 years old to wear them. I don't believe very young girls who wear them today. Okay, so there's a lot of people wearing hijab who don't really understand the significance of hijab. I believe she's probably right about that. She just thinks that they just think that that's a cool thing to do because they see their friends doing it. Don't really bother. Don't really go to mosque. Don't learn their scripture or whatever. But they just do it because everybody else is doing it because she thinks it's a cool thing to do to make them stand out as a tribe, as it were, something like that. It's not girls under 8. It's girls of some girls of primary school age, which will include the top range, which will be 11. So I don't think it's going to go too late at all. If they do, well, it's just a badge of belonging, and people who are a little bit ignorant and wanting them to stand together, as it were, especially when they're under attack. The main point of contention in this article it is for, but you know what's really interesting? The main point of contention in this article is that the talk of British fellows was divisive, so her parents made her wear a hijab at school. So she says, I do understand why my parents put me and my siblings through that. Put me and my siblings through that. In other words, they compelled them to have the hijab at their school. They were trying to instill an idea of our identity into us, so we meet other young Muslims as part of the wider community. I frequently drawn things that I learned at Islamic school, but also there that I learned that Muslim school girls don't actually have to wear the hijab, and not until pro-puberty or in defence of this job in the Burkina stand. But everything I've said, the policing of, crikey, it's almost uninterpretable. Policing of Muslim women's clothes is used to attack minority community. It's not the policing of women's clothes, it's the fact they've got women's clothes. She doesn't mean policing in that sense, doesn't mean the police. She just means forbidding and not forbidding and insisting Muslims wear certain clothes is used to attack. It's used by her school friends, I think she means, to attack the Muslim community. He's already at risk of being alienated by the mainstream. Okay. And he goes on, Saga goes on. He's already at risk of being alienated by the mainstream. I think she's already at risk of being alienated by the mainstream. Amazing doublethink there, isn't it? You said that you and your parents still into a separate and foreign. Crikey. Separate and foreign identity, one deliberately designed to be foreign to British identity, and you sitting there, I'm at risk of being alienated. Well, I guess you are. I suppose you're going to have to stop this army if you are literally being indoctrinated by your parents to think of yourself as Muslim rather than British. Well, you can be a British Muslim. There's absolutely no sense to what he's saying at all here. One deliberately designed to be foreign to British identity. No, it's not deliberately designed, it's just what they are. They come across some British identity to have a repulsion to all the sexualisation of youth, of young people being sexualised, which they see all the time. Like I say, in our clothes stores, and they say, we don't want that. We don't want that for our children. We don't want our children, our 11-year-old children, being ogled and assaulted and approached and hit on, asked out for dates and whatnot by elder men, including mostly older men, I think. They don't want that. I think it's creepy. So they try to protect their girls by having them, identify as part of the Muslim collective. We can obviously get some colour group protection going from there, but also wear the hijab so they can try to make a sign to the British boys and the British men, keep off. This person has resolved themselves, being very chaste, very deliberately not doing what you could do with her hair to send you a wild frenzy, so back off. They're being polite, you be polite. That's what it means. And then Carl goes ranting on about, on the basis of the assumption that he's right, goes on to talk very broad lessons about British values and alienation and Muslim identity. Muslim identity prevents you from having a British identity, where it doesn't. Makes you object to British values. Well, they don't. The British value is that 11-year-olds can wear a lot of highly hypersexualized gear and making their twerking, tweeting, whatever sex bunny role model they picked off the television. And I'm against British values as well. I don't think that is actually a British value. I think we've got to do. I think we've gone a long way down the road of commercialising our use and whatever. But there we are. So I don't think that's a British value at all. So I don't think. I think rightly regarded, the Muslims got this right and the average Brits have got this wrong. It's going on about British and of course the British government will enforce these British values at the expense of the values of foreign nations, because they're often very different, frankly unacceptable. Well, when we teach young girls in terms of hypersexualizing, I'd say it was absolutely unacceptable to British values. I think that that's probably something which Ms. Spielman would agree with, in fact, if she's conservative. Blah, 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 blah. So it's just ranting at this point. Motion accused Spielman of going far beyond her remit of Chief Inspector of Schools in recent comments, linking the wearing gear job to the sexualisation of young girls, which she is. It's not the sexualisation, it's the asexualisation. It's simply the guarantee of not looking at someone as being sexualised is wearing the hijab. The transcript is beating me here. I mean, I'm going to have to agree with Latifa Abuju Kara here, a teacher from Ealing, who told the conference that such which was just another term for racism and Islamophobia. So if I can have it, well, it is racism, it is Islamophobia. British values are racist. No, they're not racist. It's that we're acting contrary to them. Here too, she says how she was called a terrorist while leading a secondary school class, Triphampton Court, which I'm sure is completely true, but she says Ofsted stance has other ramifications. It signals to the British public that women are oppressed by Islam. Have us woke, yeah. I see. Oppressed by Islam, full stop. Have us woke, yeah. It's his comment. I agree. I think almost everyone in the British public agrees that women are being oppressed by Islam. Well, according to Testimony Today, that's the absolute opposite. Muslims have a instant get out from being oppressed from male gaze, which is to wear a hijab. And every male in Islam who's been anything like remotely in contact with the culture knows that means back off, keep away. This person is protected by the community and you must not interact with her at all. Even by meeting eyes and smiling. That even to a traditional Muslim, that is far too much. You should shake hands with someone in hijab, mustn't look them in the eye, must be very, very polite and very much on the back foot. Learned that to my cost from encountering someone who was very much of that ilk. true to her without meaning to be. It's actually creepy without meaning to be. He's still going on about talking about black bags with tiny little light box out of your eyes. Well, which of the women are more in prison, Carl? Ones who have to wear a burqa to keep from your male gaze, Carl, who wants to do things that people breed with women, or someone who wears sexualized clothing to try and fit in because they've got the latest tweeting, twerking female role model to look up to and try and emulate, because they just have to be sexualized to the degree, otherwise can't fit in with their life. I don't know how much what you think is in tune with the really, I'd say neither. I don't like the burqa really. I certainly don't like hypersexualizing little girls, 11 and so forth, which is what our culture does. So I think we've drifted away from real British values. You need to get back to them. So it's a conservative interpretation. But when we do this, it's not by pressing others and telling them what they can and can't wear, especially when that wearing is a signal to the opposite effect. I think women can look after themselves, where 11-year-old kids can't look after themselves. I think women can look after themselves, where people like you around, Carl, who thinks that breeding, who thinks a proper relationship with women is to breed with them. Quote unquote, breed. And then he says that various things about Muslim faith are obligatory, enforced, while the whole point of them is they're voluntary. You do them as a matter of faith because you believe in them. If you do them as a matter of bad faith, it's not Islamic. There's scripture against that, I'm sure. Lying to God, basically. Speaking your faith, praying in bad competition, you're not allowed to do that. You don't really believe, you shouldn't be doing it. So that kind of hypocrisy is completely anathemous to Islam, as I understand it. Whew. It's a lot more hard work than I thought it was going to be. It's because I think it's just because I'm quoting so much from him. Really, it doesn't really need to be quoted. The time I spent, again, the amount of time he spends, the amount of grist he gets from the small, sort of generalising so completely and going off on a rant on top of that generalisation. From one small piece of data, he's generalising a whole, going from the very particular hijabs being recommended by the parents to school children, primary school children, some primary school children. I'd say it's probably the more the ones who are more close to their menstruation, close to puberty. It's going from that to generalising the whole thing about British values being undervalued and all kinds of things about Islam and whatever. So arguing from within this particular video, is arguing from a very, very particular to a very, very general. I'm going to ignore the rest of his rants. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I think this is fairly clear that Carl doesn't just happen to come across these examples because he thought they were good. He actually deliberately manoeuvred them together, the Sweden story and the hijab story, to tell a false story about Muslims and children. He knows it's very appealing to his base. He's actually deliberately concocted the two together. Trying to separate out Islam. Or go to a Muslim and say, is it okay to hypersexualize young girls? They would say no, instantly, because that's the opposite of what they're trying to do with their body wearing the hijab. Hijab is the opposite of hypersexualization, as I say. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I think this is running on for too long, getting boring. So thanks for listening, if anybody has been. Just go back and see if there's any chat. No chat. Good, that's fine. Basically, it's just been a demonstration of just how easy it is to refute what Sargon of Akkad says. And I'll try again next week when I'll be shaking a lot less. I'll have some kind of idea of how much detail I need to go into to analyse this. I think it's really very easy to get a very quick response into Sargon. So the truth is very absolutely on the heels of the lies he tells and the falsehoods he proposes, and the fools he makes of all his audience, because he doesn't really believe in this at all. Going to end the stream there, see what happens. Bye now.